wants to go.
Felt like from about the first 5 minutes of the game, I mean, neither team could score, but once Iowa kind of got into a rhythm, it became pretty apparent they weren't going to go away. I mean, they were playing to prolong their season, and just felt it seemed like they were a team that was playing with tremendous urgency. I don't know, just how do you qualify it here, a few minutes after it's over, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams were playing with great urgency and, a little clunky there to start the game, but it wasn't for lack of urgency or effort from either team. I mean, we anticipated getting their absolute best. They showed that down the stretch with how they've played, and I think ultimately, Steve, it just boiled down to we had a couple of defensive breakdowns that were uncharacteristic of us, and they made us pay. You got to give them credit. They made us pay. It was a great fight to get back. Had some opportunities there to either tie the game, take the lead back, and a couple empty offensive possessions. But I thought both teams played really hard. They made a couple more plays than we did.
Your players pretty consistently talked about them being more connected than you guys were. Was that a talking point?
Yeah, I mentioned that post game. I felt like, and again, when I talk about being connected, it wasn't for us. It wasn't like we were not on the same page or we were being selfish. It was the split-second decisions, right, that you have to make throughout a possession, especially the way they play. They put you in a lot of decision-making moments. Mm-hmm. And when I say we weren't connected, we had too many breakdowns, where communication maybe wasn't early enough or communication wasn't received well enough. Mm-hmm. And then, especially down the stretch, I thought we had some opportunities to help more off of some of their personnel. And we weren't, we didn't do that well enough, and that allowed them to get the ball to the rim. So when I talked about being connected, I thought, that was our issue defensively. It wasn't being tough. It wasn't, playing hard enough. It was us not executing our kind of communication well enough. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, I thought they did a really good job of that. And offensively, they made us pay when we did that.
You've talked about one of you guys play with joy, especially this time of year, and obviously you had everything to be playing for today. Did the moment get tight for you guys? Do you feel you guys played with the joy and the looseness you need to advance at this time of year?
I would have liked some more. I thought we had great joy in some moments, and others we didn't. So, but it wasn't I didn't feel throughout the course of the game that we didn't have it, or we were tight. I think there were some moments where it lacked, and maybe some moments where we had some guys do some uncharacteristic things, and I think certainly we've known how big all these games are, right? Like we've been playing like this for a significant stretch. So, I wanted us to be aggressive, play to win, play with great confidence, and I thought we did that for a significant portion. We lacked some of that at times.
You mentioned playing like a significant amount of close games and down the stretch, that meaningful games. Did that like wear you down at all, like maybe towards the end of the year?
It's a good, fair question. I didn't look out there and see a team that was, worn down. I think we got fatigued when we had to make that run back a little bit. I think maybe that impacted us a little bit. It's our depth, was not as good as we needed it to be down the stretch at times of games. And I think we got outscored significantly from the bench this game. But we got some guys who have had to adjust roles and guys who are in new situations. And, I think it's possible this specific game, we got a little fatigued down the stretch. I feel like we've managed our, legs through the sports science and the player load and stuff. I think we've managed that with recovery pretty well.
You now face kind of I'm sure, difficult couple of days of sitting and waiting. And what do the next couple of days look like for you, and what is this going to be like for you to have to sit here and wait until Sunday to find out what could be next? Yeah,
well, I think, certainly glad have been playing in big, meaningful games. Would have liked to execute some results better, certainly. But I think, again, like we've talked about really for the last month, there's some things that we've done from scheduling and from quality wins that I believe should at least keep us in the conversation. And we'll see. I know there's a lot that has to happen between now and then, but we could use the rest and recovery for the next couple days while we wait to see what happens. And we'll utilize that certainly.
Is the Crown event something you've thought at all about, and is that something you've talked to the team about?
No, we haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about that. We haven't talked about that at all. Our focus has been, really trying to play our best every single game day and preparing for that to get an at-large berth in the NCAA tournament. That's been our focus.
Sorry. Will you have to talk to guys about what they would want to do in that scenario? Because it seems odd. You have to wait 2 weeks, and then guys could be in the portal and things like that. Will you have to have those conversations in the next couple of days?
Yeah, we got to as a program and group, right? We got to get back to Columbus and sit down and kind of reflect and talk. I know there's a lot of unknown right now, so it's hard to make any firm, decisions on anything. We got to wait and see what happens here in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And again, this is all pretty fresh. I haven't really given that any thought, up to, obviously I know we got some things to think about now moving forward.
If this would be the last time that we saw this team, which I know that's probably unlikely, but what do you think this team showed people? What do you hope that this year one might have shown people about where you want this to be? Yeah,
that's a tough question to answer right now without, I think, getting some time to really sit back and reflect. But I've said this all along, all season. Our toughness, our togetherness, playing in meaningful games. That it was important. Certainly selfishly, as a program, we wanted to take a giant step forward this year. I think we took a step forward so far. I haven't been shy about what I think the standard is of this program. The reality is, right, it's a fight to get back there, and we're going to fight every single day, and this group has. That's where I think when I reflect on it, this group has fought and overcome a lot of adversity to do it, to get back and do those things that I just talked about. And so I think this program belongs, right? I've said, you guys know how I feel about that. So we got to keep grinding and keep working towards that.
Last thought that I had, just Bruce was almost superhuman there the last 10 minutes of the game, trying to put the team on his back and hits one clutch shot after another. Just was this the best of Bruce Thornton that we saw today, 22 points, 9 assists? And as I said, when the game's on the line, he was hunting one basket after another.
Yeah, his will to win is special. His care factor is special. I've said this before, he's an every rep guy, not an everyday guy. And I thought he really just kind of relished in the moment and seized the moment for us to help us fight back. And, is it the best? I don't know. He's had some pretty
had some good games, yeah.
Pretty special games this year. But, I think he left it all out there, today. There's no question about it.
Block charge.
In my opinion, in that moment, there was a lot of movement prior to it. And, I didn't think Bruce didn't pull his offhand off the ball. Kept two hands on the ball and actually got fouled on the way down. So, and you can dissect that play. Certainly it was a huge moment. But, from where I sat, I thought there was a lot of lateral movement to get there and, potentially some, basically kind of creating an opportunity for a call to be made instead. So, hey, we had plenty of other opportunities. I've said this from day one. Really, since conference play started, I think Bruce Thornton, people are allowed to get away with physicality and fouling of him because he's so physically strong. And we've seen it even in out of conference stuff. So, and he never tries to trick an official. Have you ever seen him flop?
No.
You ever seen him try to trick somebody? And it's disappointing that oftentimes the other gets rewarded. But again, one play, make no mistake, that play didn't decide the outcome. I'm not a believer in officials deciding outcomes. Players, it's as a player's game, and I think would we have liked a couple more, sure, but we had our opportunities earlier in the game that we needed to capitalize on both sides of the ball, so it didn't come down to that.
Coach, thanks.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Yep.